Good afternoon or evening, everybody, depending on where you are in the world, because we do have people all over the world watching. Want to say a big giant welcome to everybody. Want to say thank you to my co-host, Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, for sitting here during this time, having this conversation with us. Also like to say thank you to YouTube and Facebook for being the other side of the conversation. For you guys make this so much fun. We enjoy doing this, and this is one of the only shows that read every last comment, question, and concern, because we feel like you all should be included in the conversation, opposed to just sitting in the comment section. So thank you for your commentary. I also like to say the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community that make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even. And so today I just kind of want to take a break, and we do that sometimes here on the Demetra K Show. We just kind of lighten it up a little bit. Not that this topic is lighter, it's just away from politics and the heaviness of, you know, what we go through as Black people, right? So I just kind of want to deviate a little bit, but of course we always talk about a whole bunch of stuff. And I did say we were going to talk about Kwame Brown, so we'll get into him towards the end of the show. I'm sure we'll have time to do that. He has taken a lot of people by surprise, and the internet by storm, I guess we should say. And so if you guys can do us a favor and share this live so everybody else can get the information and join in on the conversation, I would greatly appreciate it. But as you guys can see here today, we are asking the question, why are women getting on bended knee? I'm going to show you guys a short video in just a second, and then we'll get into it. So Donovan, quickly, what say you? And thank you, Marcus, for everything that you do behind the scenes and making the show go further. You are dope. Donovan?
Hey, you guys, welcome to the Demetra K Show, the only show where we actually read all of your comments. We try to do it as far as we can to get to the end, and we've been very, very successful. Hope you guys have enjoyed your weekend. A lot of people here in California have been hitting the beaches and enjoying yourself as all the states are opening up. Again, I have a really, really sad weekend, because I sit here and I ponder, why is it that we can't seem to do anything for ourselves? Asians, as you guys know, got a bill that makes them a protected class, as well as the bald eagle. But we're not going to talk about that today. But that's the kind of stuff that's on my mind. And I kind of wonder, you know, like we've been telling you guys for years, the Democratic Party, you have Democratic operatives. Black elected officials do not speak for Black people. They speak for the Democratic Party. They're good. As long as they got their pay and everything, they're going to be good. But I think this topic that we're going to get into is a good topic, because as a Black man, I'm kind of glad that some of these women want to be married, because, you know, the game has been, you know, have kids, but don't get married. You don't need no man. But there is a problem and a role. I think it's a problem in roles when a woman gets down on her knee and has to ask a man to marry her. I believe that it's for us as men to pursue the woman and be worthy of the woman's right to take care of her. So let's get into it.
All right, now, so we are going to actually stay on top of you guys' comments today, because I know sometimes we get behind. And so I addressed two of the ladies that were on earlier. Just really I want to thank you guys for being here. And so I'm going to show you guys a quick video. Actually, I'm going to send myself a picture really quick so I can show that. So I'm going to show you guys a quick video. It's probably like 11 seconds long, but this is just one of the things that caught my eye and made me want to talk about this. So check this out, you guys. So as you guys can see there, that is a woman getting on bended knee to ask a man to marry her. Now, I'm curious, because I want to know what he said, you know, if he said yes or if he said no. And, you know, all of that is kind of like a cliffhanger. And as you can see there, she had a whole host of people there to, I guess, watch her get on bended knee to ask for his hand. Yes, I did say his hand in marriage. And so quickly, I want to give you guys a brief overview of marriage. So marriage means different things to many people. Marriage is pair bonding. Back in the day, I'm talking like long time ago, right? It was really for the designation of property, so that property and whatever else could pass down to its rightful heirs. Marriage is really about property and reproduction, right? And then later on, it began to be like a civil and a religious thing. Now, the oldest set of laws in regards to marriage, if you will, was written, as they can find, in about 2001 BC. Now, there are different kinds of marriages, and you guys know them as polygamy, bigamy, because I was trying to speak too fast, bigamy, polygamy, polyandry, monogamy, ghost marriages. Now, I was doing a little research. Ghost marriages when a live person actually marries a dead person. There's a couple people I can think of I would want to marry, but I don't know if I want them dead, right? I want to marry them alive. And what else we have? Of course, there's same-sex marriages. You guys know that's new within the last, 20 years, maybe, give or take. And so like I said, marriage means a lot of things to many people. But after the Industrial Revolution, if you will, love, or marriage rather, became more about love and companionship. People started to have less children, because back in the day they got married, had a bunch of kids so that they can, farm the land and, just do a whole bunch of things. But once the Industrial Revolution came in, that's when the machines started to be created and, different things like that. They didn't need as many people. And so people were like, well, maybe I'm going to marry for love this time, So back in the day, people did marry for financial reasons. And so it's a whole host of things to everybody, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys a rundown. And I want to ask you guys this question. In your opinion, why are women getting on bended knee and asking men to marry them? And do you guys have a problem with that? Is that something you can see yourself doing? And so, Donovan, really quick, I'll go ahead and say your thing, and then I'm going to get into the comments.
Well, I'm going to say real quick, I just have a problem with it as a man, because that is my role to pursue the woman, not her to pursue me. But my question is this, and we talk about this all the time, Demetra. I really feel sorry for these young women out there, because the type of men that are out there who have been raised by a generation of women, they don't know how to be men. The pickings are slim. I don't care what anybody says. The pickings are very slim out there. The jobs are not there. If you look at the way a lot of these men are dressed, and I'm going to do a video on my own show where I'm even going to show you some alphas with the tight pants and it's almost like they're dressing effeminate. And you can't tell me, that there was a father in the home, because it just, the pickings are very slim for these girls. And I know a lot of women out there that are successful and doing very, very well for themselves. But when they look at their compadre, or that partner, that lifelong partner, Black men are usually lacking, not because, we're just terrible people, but we know there's a systematic racism that prevails against Black men. Now, systematic racism, the prison industrial complex, there's a whole purveyor of things. So there's really not a lot of pickings out there for young women. So when a woman has to, when she finds a guy that she really wants, and she really wants that dude, and she's got to do that, that just shows me the desperate thing that is going on in the Black community with our Black women. And it's so sad. It's a very sad commentary.
You said a mouthful, brother. All right, so I'm going to get to you guys' comments, and then I'll render my opinion. How you doing, Stacy? I hope you're having a great day, and I'm glad that you're able to catch us live. Hey, Terry, what's up? You say, hi, Demetra and Donovan. I saw these pictures and videos of women pretty much doing everything that traditional women expect from men. That's a good statement there. We're going to get into it. Hey, Robin, how you doing? And Stacy says, I'm not going to propose ever. I know that's right. And Terry says, I took the masculine role in my marriage and resented my now ex-husband every single day as a result. Today, I'd rather stay divorced and never remarry. And let me ask you, since you said that, what sort of things did you do that you consider to be masculine in the marriage, if you don't mind me asking? Hey, Black Ricardo, you say, oh, no. What's that about? What's happening, Moni? Says 608. Welcome to you both. I hope that you would tell us about our dermal planning, if you ever done it, and if you're having your eyebrows dark, No, I've never done it, and I would never tattoo my face. It's just something, because your face is going to change eventually, and the last thing you want is to have some, your eyebrows is, I don't know. Let's, just be natural, right? All right. And so DJ Charisma, how you doing? He said, this is why men, quote unquote, nowadays think all of us females settle for less and are weak. Good point. Mr. Pirate Brain, long time no see. How you doing? He says, good evening, Demetra and Donovan. And Terry says, exactly why. He says, DJ. And Moni says, now I could have understand if it was a situation where he asked her first and then she wasn't ready. So then she turns around and re-asks him. So maybe, but I'm just old fashioned. I mean, that's a good point too. If he asked her and asked her and asked her and she said no, and then finally she asked him, yeah, you can maybe see that because he has already expressed that he wanted to be married to her, right? Hey, Tanaya, how you doing? And Robin says, masculinity has left the building. He must be one of those high-value men, quote unquote, that we keep hearing so much about. I hope that's not what they are defining it nowadays. And Terry says, that's too cringe for me. I say no. I just don't see me changing my mind later. Nah, I'm gonna give y'all my opinion.
Yeah, real quick, if that was me as a man, if a woman did that to me, not only would I be embarrassed for her, I would be embarrassed for myself.
Yeah. I can see a lot of men, saying, mm-mm. And hey, Kiki, how you doing? And Terry says, I have a huge problem with it. And Stacy says, where did the leap year tradition of women proposing come from? I don't know. It seems like it's something we're seeing like within the last couple of years or so. It's weird to me, right? Kiki says it's their choice, but not for me. True. And Mona says, Donovan got a cute little cat. Reminds me of Felix the cat. I can see Donovan with a very cute schnauzer. That's beige. Happy Memorial Day to you both. I hope that's you guys will enjoy. Is it Memorial Day today?
Next weekend.
Oh, I'm about to say, ooh.
Yeah. 3-day weekend next weekend. So you guys get out there and mix it up and get that COVID again and have fun.
No. Armani, how you doing? He says maybe because they don't want to wait for him. I wouldn't. It does look bad, but I don't judge or blame them. Okay. Terry says he was supposedly a stay-at-home dad. Okay, so are you talking about in your own situation? And Magically Me, how you doing? It says black first. Yes, indeed. And
well,
Terry,
real quick for the guys though, if he turned her down, hey, she's desperate.
no, forget that. And Terry says, I was the provider, bought the cars, the house, paid for everything. Yeah. I'm going to get to these comments and we're going to speak on it. Donovan, don't forget that one because I want you to speak on that one specifically. And Mona says, I say when both the lady and the man have gotten themselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially fit, first then it's okay to think about marriage because that's the right thing to do. But let the man ask, okay? Hey, Brother Sammy, how you doing? Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam to you as well. You say, I had to follow you to get your notifications. The Bible says the man that findeth a wife found a good thing. However, some hint can be given in today's society. And I agree with you on that. There's a way for a woman to let a man know she's interested. Like, hey, is we getting married anytime soon? But as far as getting on one knee, that is completely out of order. And you're right. A man is supposed to find a woman and, do the leading. I would think, right? And yes, Donovan says, welcome to the Demetra K Show. And let's see here. I skipped. Oh, here we go. Yep, thumbs up, everybody. If you can, give some thumbs up. And D-Lou, how you doing? He said, this is ridiculous. A man should feel embarrassed if his woman proposed to him. There's a lot of people men out there like, don't bother me. What's happening, Connie? He says, I have seen video with the pregnant woman proposing. Straight foolishness. Yes, I saw that. And I was like, for real? I like it. Some things are backwards here. I don't know.
Well, maybe she wasn't sure who her baby daddy was.
Stop it. And Afro Diaspora Network, how you doing? And Mr. Pybrand says a lot of men aren't getting married because it's a bad deal for men. Talk about it. Expound on that, please, while you can. And Terry says one day when we were about to break up, he said, "You doubt buying me nothing." So he said, "Don't buy me nothing, not even a cold soda." And I screamed, "N-word, that's my line."
Terry's got a story.
And Moni says, I'm not in no aspect going to provide for everything. He's going to be able to pull. These things be skipping up. All where'd he go? He's going to be able to pull his load. Likewise, and these states are opening up. They'll be throwing people out in the streets. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of men like, yes, go ahead and propose to me. I need a place to stay.
Well, wait, real quick, Dimitri. You know, like out here in California, you'll see a lot of like very slim guys with these big black women. And these guys, it's a known thing out here where these young guys who don't have a place to live, don't have nothing going for them, they will date these big women because they know that these women have low self-esteem, and they will go and live with them. Seriously. I mean, that's happening here.
Listen, the opinions of Donovan Sadiq in no way has a reflection on me, the host. Okay, that I didn't say that he did. But listen, there's a lot of dudes who like, you know, girls with some cushion on them. Ain't got nothing to do with big girls having.
Wait, I'm one of them. You know, I like a little, you know, I like them to be thick. But what I'm saying is, though, there has been a phenomenon where that was happening, and a lot of these young men were being put out by these girls when it came that he didn't really love her because he had a side chick, whatever, and he's living with her. She's providing everything.
Well, makes sense. And Terry says, absolutely, Donovan, it is embarrassing. And Moni said, if the moratorium doesn't get extended, people are going to be facing being thrown out already, want people off of unemployment, and going to make you start looking for a job as mediocre pay. Oh, absolutely. You can believe that. And Magically Me says, the terms and conditions need to change in relationships. We aren't asking for what we want. We take what society and religion and our parents and everybody else tells us what it looks like. You ain't lying. I mean, sometimes you just got to define things on your own terms. What fits your relationship. So that's a good point. And Moni says, on the other hand, Donovan, it could be that she knows she got a good man and she wants to lock him down before somebody else scoop him up. That's another way of looking at it. Dumb choice, though. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, but if he's a good man, why is she on her knee?
Yeah, we're going to get into it. I'm just trying to get these comments down. And DJ Charisma says, also, great evening, Demetra and Uncle Donovan. I have been busy with moving into my house, and I'm happy that I can finally get a chance to listen to you guys. Well, thank you. And congratulations on your new house. Hope you're settled in pretty good. And thank you, Stacy, for tagging people to watch. And Terry says, what's messed up? He says, Mr. Pyrebrain, I have the exact same grievances that men in my town, I think you meant, have, or I think that's what you meant, town. It says, I didn't realize until now that I even wrote off men altogether. I don't date at all. Wow.
Oh my God. What a waste of such a beautiful woman. What a waste.
And you know what, though? People have gone through some things where they're like, I'm good. Hey, Carmen, how you doing? It says, this is just wrong on so many levels. I agree that he is supposed to find her. They can find each other, and she can throw some tips or bounce if he don't get off the pot. I feel the same way. And Leather Luxury Cars, how you doing? And Kiki says, but that's their choice. But as far as limitations, the numbers in our community are limited. But me and my friend were talking about this earlier. A lot of sisters are not open to opening their options. That's changing, but not enough. There are other men of color. Go where you're loved and wanted. Well, you know, if you like me as a black woman, I want to be with black men, because I feel like too, and I'm not saying you're saying this, Kiki, but a lot of times we think the grass is greener on the other side, or we think the white man is going to treat us better in relationships, but that's not necessarily true. I'm going to tell y'all right now, almost every single sister that I know that was with a white man and had kids with that white man, they got a divorce, and that white man ended up with full custody in most of those cases. Full custody of the kids, and did y'all think the brothers, y'all hear stuff about the brothers.
White guys do far worse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm like, wow, if these sisters only knew.
Yeah, when you talk about a deadbeat black man, wait till you ever meet a deadbeat white guy. I mean, they don't want to do shit, and they have the law to back them up in some cases. Yeah.
And Moni says, so I hope that you guys will enjoy the Memorial Day. I don't know if you have a Technotronic Fest, but in Detroit we have it, and it's awesome. People come from all across the world and party for days. I don't do. It actually is my mother's birthday. It's Memorial Day, the 31st, and so I don't really celebrate Memorial Day, even though its inception is from Black people. What was it? It was a mass grave of soldiers, is what it was, and that's Black people came up with the day Actually, I think it was slaves came up with the Memorial Day concept, and of course, white people ran off with it. So,
yeah, for me, Memorial Day was actually the last time I saw my father. So that was the last day I talked to my father, and that was it. And I hadn't seen him since I was 5 years old. So for me, even though it's Memorial Day as a military person, I really more celebrate it. Like Demetri, it kind of reminds me of my missing parent.
Mm-hmm. And Carmen says, "Don't start nothing tonight, Donovan. He can't help himself." How you doing, Angela? You say, and why are they even capturing it on camera? Shoot, you should have seen all the people in this particular scenario, all behind that big sign, "Will you marry me?" It's like, what? He says it's not even aesthetically pleasing to see an already smaller person lowering her already lesser stature. Yeah, and then look at her, she's got a dress on, nice shoes, and she's on her knees. Like, come on, lady. Hey, Sam, he says this is emasculating black men needs to stop. I agree. Morning says, but the way they are putting this pandemic vaccine, the jab, they are like, it doesn't exist. I don't like how they're over forcing to get everything open like in a giant hurry instead of waiting for fall. Well, it's
about money. It's all about money.
Show. Period. Not lives, but money. And Carmen, you say, sure will. My cousin is one of those guys. And Dr. Rob Green, how you doing? So he said, so I'll be sexist. And say it. Men are built for labor and warfare, and women are built for childbearing and a helper. It takes two. A man is to pursue the woman. So far we have everybody on the same page, but you never know. It's early. And Sam says, this is so sad. And Haley, how you doing? He says, hey, I love watching y'all. We love having you here. Thank you. And Carmen says, nah, Demetri Donovan, telling the truth on this living with a big girl situation.
It is true. It is true. It's an entanglement. It's what they call an entanglement.
I'm trying to avoid the backlash.
Right. Now think about this too, ladies. Why is it, if you got a man that's living with you, why is it that the argument with him always starts about a week before the rent's due? Think about that. Think about that. As soon as the rent's paid, he's back.
Shit. Terry says, I agree, Moni. What's worse, other men saw this as good. I've had many men offer to marry me and move in. I believe that is because of them being dusty and they're looking for.
Now, I agree with Terry right there, because men should not move in with women. He should have a spot ready for her. My mother always told me, this is my mom. You guys got to remember, my mom was in the Army, so she talks like a, no nonsense type woman. She said, you mean to tell me you want all of this kitty cat and you can't even find me a place to go get it? Come on now.
No, that's not how that works. Hey, Monet, how you doing? And Moni says it depends on the circumstances as to why that woman wants to ask the man to marry. Maybe the man could be passive and not know what to say, and she's being aggressive. She can ask if he accepts. Fine. Yeah, that sounds like a beta male, and I don't know. Why would you want to marry that? And Carmen says, black women need to value themselves more. Absolutely. And Mr. Pybrand says, a lot of men get married to women just for their wives to divorce them and take their money down. Example, Dr. Dre, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and many homeless men. So you're answering the question as to why it's not really convenient for a lot of men. Well, I think every scenario is different, right? I mean, if you want to, just those people that you talked about, all three of their wives said that they were cheated on. So it's like on one hand, you say it's not convenient for men, but then leave off the fact that how convenient is it for a woman to be with a man? And all of those people that you mentioned, they were together with their spouses for quite a while. And then here I'm finding out that you're cheating on me. And it's probably not once, it's probably 2, 3, 4 times. So it's like, if you like your money, then stop cheating. Because you really can't expect for a woman to say, okay, you cheated on me, I'm leaving. And I'm leaving with nothing? The hell no. Especially if you're married to the richest man in the world. He's still the richest man in the world, even after he gave Mackenzie Bezos, his ex-wife, half of his billions. So there's like more to the story, right? How you doing, Freddie?
And she's the richest woman in the world, getting half of his fortune.
Right. How you doing, Freddie? And thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. And Terry says, MGTOW. Okay, here we go. Men going their own way is like a different type of incel group. Oh, now I never heard of that. And Terry says, oh, thank you, Donovan. Gave her a compliment. And Samuel says there's a difference between dating and courting. You know what, Samuel, break it down for us. Break it down. And Marty says some men may not feel embarrassed just on their nature alone. They might feel flooded. So it just depends on the upbringing at the end of the day. If he accepts, it works out good for them. And I'm sure there are some situations where a woman has asked a man and, they've been together for 50 years, but I don't know, like somebody else said on here, to each his own, really. And Saila Trey, I like how you broke it all the way down, because wasn't I having a problem pronouncing your name at one point in time? But I like it. How you doing, by the way? Long time no see. You say white male husbands only make up 4% for the past 150 years. Okay. And the Pioneer, how you doing? He says, good evening, family. Finally was able to catch another live. Yay. Armani, he said, unpopular opinion, Black women are more race loyal to Black men. That is true. Black women, really want to be with Black men, but for whatever reason, it doesn't work out. And then there's some Black women who don't want to be with Black men, but I agree with you. I believe more Black women are more loyal to Black men than the other way around. And the Pioneer says, have you or Five Star discussed the murder, that incident of brother in Houston by an entire family of Latinos? Is news to me. If you can maybe send me the link, I would love to read about it. This is news to me. I haven't heard anything about it at all. And Mark, he says, ask Halle Berry. Wow. And how you doing, by the way? Did Halle ask any of those dudes to marry her? How's that?
The white guy that had the daughter.
Oh, yeah. Right. And because she was wanting to move out of the country or something. He was like, no. And she said he was abusive and all of that. But yeah.
Wait. But Jennifer Hudson said the same thing. That's the go-to when you want the kids for yourself and you want him to pay child support. Oh, he's abusive to me. Come on.
Well, both of her men are Black, though, from what I understand. And Stacy says, I've got much nicer stuff for you guys to do on Memorial Day. Okay, well, do tell. And Saila Trey, he says, come down to Oakland, California next year for a Black Joy Parade. I would love to. You know what? I think I will. I was in Oakland about 3 years ago, I think it was. I went and saw a concert. My favorite band, Jamiroquai. I saw them there. It was awesome.
Yeah, no. Oakland with all that black chocolate running around there, I wouldn't make it out. I wouldn't make it out.
Frank says, Pioneer, what? And Saila Trey says, so when Japanese women asked to marry Japanese men, why Black women not mad at that? One Chinese woman asked to marry Chinese men, why Black women not mad at that? I didn't know that was something that they do. I'm not really well versed with Japanese or Chinese culture.
Well, in that culture, and I'm not an expert, but from my understanding, most marriages, especially in China, in the Asian community, is usually arranged, especially in Japan. Now that we're getting modern, they're kind of, a little bit more liberal in how they do things. But a traditional Japanese Chinese things, it's usually arranged.
Right. And Carlisle, how you doing? You say, Stacy, I don't think it's a bad thing. It shows that people are no longer confining themselves to stereotypical traditional boxes. They're doing what they believe is good for them at the time, having used their own criteria. Good on them, ladies, enough respect. And some fellas lucky like that and deserve it. Okay. Armani, why are you putting your hand up on your face like that? And Kiki says, oh no, of course there's good and bad in all colors. And I'm not into white guys. No, I knew you wasn't saying for yourself. He says, He says, no, I'm talking about the other Black and brown men of other cultures. There are men out here who want to get married if a woman just really wants to marry them. But a lot of guys in American culture frown on marriage. They don't have a very positive outlook on marriage. Other cultures see marriages differently and more positively. That's all I meant. Yeah, and you're right about that. I would say that's true. American men, and I think really for the reason that Mr. Pirate Brain said, that it's not favorable to men, but there's a lot of cases where women get married and get took as well. I mean, look at Mary J. Blige, so it's not always that way, I guess, but maybe more so than it is for women. I don't know. You guys tell me. And Frank is agreeing with Saila Trey. He says, I agree. And the Pioneer says, as I await your response to the situation in Houston, as far as this subject, I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman proposing to a man. We have bigger fish to fry in our community. So let me ask you this. while you're getting me the link to that situation, would you accept a woman hand in marriage if she asked you to marry her? Would you personally do that? No judgment. I'm just asking. And Armani says, because we're Black and she's Chinese. Okay. And Saila Trey says, there's no Bible reference that says a woman cannot pursue a man. There's no Bible reference that says only men pursue women. Well, if you're looking at that scripture, and forgive me, I don't know exactly where it comes from at this moment, but as Samuel said, it does say when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. And so if you're looking at it, if you're reading between the lines, it doesn't say a woman finds a man. And then also in the beginning of the Bible, who acquired who, right? Adam acquired Eve, and I know acquired is maybe kind of a wrong word, but he asked for Eve. If you're following the Bible, he asked for Eve, and God gave her to him, and she was to be a helpmeet. And that was after he had his stuff together, right? And so he asked, if you want to really kind of stretch it, he asked for Eve's hand in marriage. So I don't know. Morning says, I've been celibate for quite a few years because I made up my mind until I find that right one. Lost my place. Let me see. Until I find that right one. Let me find it. You guys are going in.
That God leads me for me.
It jumped up. Okay.
Yeah.
That God leads me, and I will stay celibate, but I have been married, so I know what's that about. I think, some people are just, choosing to not partake, and that's okay too, because it doesn't cloud your judgment, right? And Leather Luxury Car says Donovan is on a roll. Hopefully I spelled that right. Close enough. And Terry says exactly. Learned a lot as I got older. We both have our roles, and I'm too tired to keep weeding through this pond. You know what? There's a lot of women and men who are like, you know what? F it. I'm just going to be single. I want to entertain a young man or whatever. God do that, but then he got to take his ass home.
You know what? I wish your sister would have that attitude. I wish your sister would have that attitude.
Gosh, trust me. And Frank says, so are you trying to say Saila Trey? Okay. He says, everything is always our fault in our community. Shaking my head. No, nobody's saying it's y'all fault. We're not blaming anybody here. We're just simply asking a question. Listen, Donovan says something that I totally believe. In a relationship, it's 50-50, okay? Nobody's totally absolved of I was just sitting there minding my business and this happened. Like, everybody has some role to play in it. I don't know if I agree if it's 50-50, but there's definitely involvement from both parties. So it's not totally one person's fault.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. You always have culpability. And I say 50-50 because I can't put 100% on this dude, you know what I mean? Or on her, because if she was doing what she was supposed to do in her role, like I said, it has to be 50-50 because you really can't say it's all me. It's got to be some of her and whatever. Basically, to be fair, I can't say, well, 15% of it is me and the rest is all him. Because as a role, if you're a woman and you want your man, and you want your marriage to work, you're supposed to do everything you can to make it work. You know what I mean? So 50-50, I think it's a fair trade.
Okay. And Moni says, I believe that some should keep their opinions open, but I believe in marriage is better than shacking up and living with somebody 20, 30, 40 years. And then when he dies, you get nothing coming. And so that is the unfortunate part of not being married, but you can write up certain wills and living trusts and things like that. But yeah, that is actually the downside of not being married. Something happens and you have no say so, right? The next of kin, whoever that is, may come in and say, okay, now I know you was living here with my daddy for 30 years, but he didn't put your name on the house. You ain't nowhere none of his bank accounts and all this furniture. Yeah, that's mine. You get your little hefty bag and go. And it happens all the time. And so when you're with somebody, you need to think of those things. Are you willing to make, and you don't know when people are going to die, right? They might go in their sleep and you think, okay, well, I have time. I have time to make this right. And you never know. So that's really a good way to think about marriage.
Yeah, a true story. I had a friend that Oklahoma, retired from the military, everything, lived with this girl, boyfriend and girlfriend for years. I'm talking about it. Have to be at least over 25 years together. Never got married, whatever, right? The man dies. She had no claim whatsoever in what to do with the body. His family had to come in and make decisions and just totally excluded her because they didn't really know who she was. You know, they knew her, but they didn't know her. And she felt like shit, excuse my language, because this woman had 3 children for this man and she could make no decisions in regards to his estate. So sad.
That's how it is. It's Saila Trey. You say, so I want to try to get this right. Saila Trey. This time I could call you for short.
Just say Mr. Research.
For research. There you go. Says, man should never move in with women. Never, never, never. Yes.
Exactly, because mad day will come. Mad day will come.
My dad says the same thing. He's like, listen, I'm not moving in no woman. She ain't taking my manhood. My dad's 77 years old. He's like, no, I ain't gonna do it. And and the pioneer says, of course, certain behaviors are just innate for a man or a woman to have, period. However, we must keep in mind, we live in a Western society where many gender roles are taught and not necessarily natural. You're 100% right about that. We are starting to teach those instead of letting people just kind of find that their way naturally. And I don't really want to get into that because I have my whole ideology on it, but I might get in trouble. So I'm gonna be quiet. And Marnie says, my cousin is married to a Caucasian man that's been abusive to her because of the N-word. Now her children, one is 29 and one is 25, and the youngest one is 17, due to be 18. They call my cousin female dogs. Oh, no. See, but the point being that there is no man, a race of man that's better, right? Even though they try to tell us that, oh, white man gonna treat you right, he gonna do this. Let me tell y'all something, okay? That is not that I know from experience, okay? Because I've never been with no white man. But I know people who have, and it's like, but they give brothers a bad rap though, huh? And the same thing for black men with white women. They, give black women a bad rap. And I know brothers who have been through the blues with white.
Personally.
Yeah.
But it's funny that you say that because my nieces, their white side of the family, N-word, this is that. Now these are white folks from the trailer park. And they think that, and my nieces don't talk to them because like their cousins, their first cousins, nigga this, nigga that, N-word, N-word, N-word. But this is their first cousin. Now, where did those kids learn that from? Their white side. And these people are trailer park people.
Yep. And Level Up Channel, how you doing? He says, no, don't ever propose to a man. Okay, it's freaking fly how to get in the house. And Kiki says, oh yeah, those MGTOW dudes are hilarious. Shaking my head, they're pure entertainment. I have to look into that. That's the first time I've heard of that. And let's see, and Marty says, so my cousin, like an idiot, had a salon, was doing well over 20 years and allowed this man to ruin all of her finances. Now she's 53, looking like a dumb fool. I've been away from my family for 20 years. Wow. Yeah, she stayed a little bit too long in that situation. And Level Up, he says, I'm dating out. He's Haitian. And how's that going?
Okay, he's black. All right. Keep it in the diaspora. That's all I got to say. Keep it in the diaspora.
Well, how's that going for you? I mean, she's making a difference between Haitian and American black men. So how's that going for you? Magically Me says, I told my son when he was young, he should never move in with a woman because I was putting fools out. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, because really a man, I think moving in with a woman, that's not always, because sometimes he has his own spot and they say, okay, well, maybe your house is bigger, right? So I guess maybe you were saying, if the man didn't have a place of his own, didn't have a foundation of his own, and he's moving in with you for stability, I think that's a problem. But sometimes a woman just has a bigger house, and it's like, well, your house is better. You want to stay in your house? Okay, I'll compromise. I don't know. But yes, I definitely have, been in that situation where I put a man or two out.
Yeah, well, true story, Demetra. How many of my friends that the relationships didn't work out and they had to leave their homes and ended up staying with me?
Yeah, I remember one time you had 2 people live. Donovan had 2 people live with him at one time. Donovan was like,
and I couldn't figure out, why are you guys leaving your homes? Well, she got the kids, whatever. That's your home too. Until the court, litigates, what the property is going to be. Men, stay in your homes. You have a right. If you got to sit on that couch and sleep on that couch, do so, but do not leave your home.
Frankie said, but there's a swirling movement. Well, I think there's always been a swirling movement. Ask Massa. when he was back in them slave quarters, he was swirling. So swirling ain't, you know, and I know that's kind of a derogatory term. It's basically when, you know, people date interracially. That's not new. And I'm not saying that slaves were dating the slave master and actually rape, you know, but the interracial relations aren't new, right?
Kizzy, remove my boots.
Shit.
Kizzy, remove my boots. Slap.
Right. Yeah, so that wasn't dating. That was actually something else. And Moni says, and I feel good knowing that even though I've been away, these people haven't tried to benefit themselves. And yet my cousin was a staunch advocate in marrying white. And what she got was a trash. Let's be clear. Yeah, sounds like. Frank, yes, sir. The Latino family surrounded the car and killed that brother in cold blood, accused him of vandalizing their car. It was a woman, her uncle, and her sons. Even some illegals. Yeah, please send me. Okay, that story. Send that story.
Yeah, there's that story. And there was a black man that was killed in Peru or one of those countries when he was down there too. They haven't talked about it yet. It's starting to get traction on national. I think it was a 2-minute segment. A brother went abroad. And we're going to talk about that later on in another show. But when you travel abroad, there's some things you got to understand as a black person because of the propaganda against black men in this country. You go to these third world countries, they are out there killing us because we project the bullshit. You don't go down there wearing your Nikes and all your money and your high flying. Black people are ending up killed, and it is just now getting out.
Yeah, I have to look into that. I kind of unplug on the weekends just to kind of clear my brain, but I will check that out. And Terry says, we are not Chinese. Yeah, that's why we don't know about what goes on in their culture, right? If that's something they do. And Frank says, but most black women are with black men. That's a good thing. Yeah, it's true. We are. It's just a fact. Most black women want to be with black men.
Yeah. When I was an officer in the military, and I was a single man because I came from the enlisted ranks and I moved up. I hadn't been married yet, whatever. And it's very hard to find a other black female officer because usually they're married to their college sweethearts or they're already married. So it's very, very hard. So and they're usually married to a black man usually. And yeah, most black women that I know of are married to black men and vice versa. I mean, that's just how it is.
Yep. Stacey, I see you putting a link up. We'll have to check that out. It looks like some sort of a sound thing, maybe some music or something. And Mr. Researcher says, let's do a live call-in show and discuss the race loyal things. There is no such thing as a race loyal. USA women do not have the luxury to go outside of the USA with the USA behavior. One day, yeah, you know what? We tried to do a live call-in, but people weren't calling in. So it was like,
yeah, and then when they would call in, they go far left, and it's like,
yeah,
I know you guys think I'm crazy and stuff, but I'm not really the rude type person, and it's like,
yeah, right,
yeah, I can't do the black channel, just cut you off, just dog you out. I can't do it.
Yeah, but we'll try it one day. But yeah, so you're saying that black women don't have he says USA women. I don't know if you mean black women don't have the luxury to go outside with the USA behavior. Do tell, what does that mean exactly? And Brother Sam,
go to these other countries that are historically have culture and think that you're going to be like a woman in control. They have a lot of machismo in the Latin countries. Then you go to Europe, that the man is the dominant thing. Especially you go to Africa, you can wrap it up. It's a wrap over there.
Well, in South Africa, they're saying that women can have more than one husband. So,
yeah, which I don't think is going to be very popular, but nice try.
No. Oh, and Brother Sammy says dating involves sex. Keep it between us. Don't know what it's going damaging when it don't work out, etc. Courting involves asking questions and is intentional. Both know where it's going. No sex, not as demanding when it don't work out. Yes. So that is the difference between dating and courting. Courting means we're in an investigation part of our situation here. I want to see if that's something I want to go forward with. You don't even have sex during the courting stages. It's like you find out if that's something you even want to do with that person, right? Donovan is courting his cat, by the way. So courting, you're asking questions. You're not even thinking about sex, but like you said, dating is like, hey, I'm off tonight. You want to come over?
Yeah, and courting also means, I just want to add this to it, means introducing your potential spouse or boyfriend to your family and letting them know, hey, this guy wants to date me. That's part of the traditional courting process. You can't really go out on a date unless your family is like approving and they're involved in some of the decision making and where you're going.
Absolutely. All right. And so let's see here. And Mr. Pirebrain, I mean, not Mr. Pirebrain, Mr. Researcher says Jennifer Hudson clearly lied and the sisterhood covered it up when she got caught and the judge found out she lied. Yes, and she ended up losing custody of her son. Well, he had primary custody rather. And the Pioneer says, yes, and someone already said in some Asian societies, women ask the men for marriage. I've had women ask me for marriage. Men are the protectors and provider, but not necessarily the initiators. Okay.
Now, I'm going to say this as somebody who was raised in Asia for over 12 years. Okay, I'm going to tell you this. If you go down to the Philippines, if they're asking you for marriage, that's because they want to come to the big Walmart. Okay, just remember that.
Lord have mercy. And Shemesh, how you doing? He says, my wife is Asian and she did ask me to have enough testosterone to fill a giant's body. Okay, well, do tell. What was that like, if you don't mind us asking? And welcome, by the way. And Terry says, men who don't understand the gender roles, I don't even consider. I'm sorry, but twice I had the babies and rushed back to work within days old babies. With days old baby, be a man or just leave me alone. I'm fine. And there it is. Enough said.
My number is 976.
Stop it. So how you doing, Charlie? He says you would. So you would accept a woman asking you to marry her? Okay. And Magically Me says, I'm in Oakland, California. So I hope to see you at the Black Joy Parade. I wish I would have known about it. I would have gone out there.
You're going to come out there anyway. You're going to go anyway.
I was actually supposed to be somewhere else on Memorial Day, but I had to cancel that. But I am going to be out there in California on Father's Day. And Moni says, I'm nice and I think I'm nice and thick is what you're saying. Okay, myself, but I'm not morbidly obese and I'm very well shaped for my size. And I'm not letting the man live with me because it's not what the Bible commands, and we can be friends. It's a good way to start.
Yeah, but the Bible doesn't command having premarital sex either, but yet everybody's doing it.
Mr. Research says marriage is great in America until Ronald Reagan changed the law in 1995. Blame Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
And what is that?
Yeah, well, I think what he's talking to in regards to the no-fault divorces and stuff that went through in a lot of states. Okay. And like I said, before, in the old days, before all that stuff changed, you had to have a really good reason to get divorced. I mean, like, oh, you got proof he cheated on you, or he had a baby out of wedlock, or she, you got to have proof. Now, you could have a perfect marriage and you can just wake up and say, you know what, I don't want to be married no more. And you can go get a divorce. And that's how easy it is. No fault. So.
Right. And Leather Electric Cars, she says, and hit this when you got to hit that dude. Ain't that the truth? What? And Carmen says, women need to stop settling. Just wait. Mr. Right now is delaying the meeting of Mr. Right for life. Come on, sis.
Hey, wait. I have a rebuttal to that. And it's just a question, and I'm not saying this, that. A lot of sisters say that. But how can you talk about Mr. Right if you're not Mrs. Right?
See, now you're deflecting, brother.
I'm just saying.
Now she giving a word, or she's being giving some words of wisdom to the sisters. She's just saying, and she's right. And that goes for men too. Stop messing around with Mr. and Mrs. Right now, because like she said, you're delaying meeting the right person for your life. And a lot of times we're with people and they take up space, but that's all they're ever going to do is just take up space and not allow you to, and what really is you allowing yourself. You don't allow yourself to go out there and say, okay, well, is there somebody else for me that's going to be not better, because better is subjective, I think, but right. So right. But you
remember that anatrope where, well, I'm looking for Mr. Right. You got to be Mrs. Right or Mr. Right.
Yeah, but I think we knew what she meant, though. She wasn't saying that it was, Mrs. Thought out there.
No, that ain't what I'm saying. But I'm saying I was talking about something in the Mr. and Mrs. Right trope. That's all I was saying. Yeah. I agree with her wholeheartedly in what she was saying.
And Kay says, and how you doing, by the way? He says, I can't mix with United States snake citizens. F that. Okay, well, do tell. And Marty says, some men will try if you allow them to move in on you on the slide, but you have to know yourself and let it be known. If you're not talking about marriage, no, thank you. The word of God will stand. Okay.
Well, let me ask you this real quick, Moni, just a quick question, and any of you ladies that can answer it. Wouldn't that be an alarm bell when a guy wants to move in with you?
Yeah, I mean, I would think that it would be. I mean, like I said, there's levels to this, right? And Terry says, yeah, that's what burned me out. And Mr. Researcher says, so if you say find man at the woman, so explain what Boaz had to be convinced by another woman to marry his wife. Doesn't that contradict? He find a woman, the woman arranged that marriage with Boaz. Like I said, I mean, I'm not 100% with the Bible. I haven't read the whole thing. I don't know if anybody has, but just in those two instances that I spoke of, that's what I interpret it to be. Now, of course, we know the Bible in and of itself is a contradiction. So, I mean, we can find a whole lot of things, but what about this? You know what I'm saying? So I think we can agree that the Bible is full of contradictions.
Especially the Christian Bible. How many denominations of Christians there are? How many denominations of the Bible there is? I'm not a Muslim, but I've studied it, and I do follow the tenets of Islam. There's only one Islamic book. There's only one, so the Christian Bible, I mean, there's so many. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying there's so many sets of it. What is right?
Right. And Shemesh, he says, shacking up is no damn good. Get married. Yeah, that's what my daddy say.
Well, I mean, think about this, Shemesh. You talk to people. Well, it's not the right time. It's not the right time. It's not. You have the kids. You guys got a house together. You're living together. You're basically married. You've been together for 8 years. Why not get married?
Right. And Kiki said there's a shift going on, though. They're starting to have more women pay alimony and child support, too. Jill Scott, Sherry Shepard, Mary J. Courts are even giving more men custody of kids as well. But I agree. It's an area that's still dominated by men when it comes to paying. Yeah, I mean, I told you guys my story all the time. My ex put me on child support and he was lying. Shut up. He was lying. But guess what? I never paid him one dime. Okay. So
they should have locked you up.
And my daddy said, I wish you would. Okay. No, he lied on me. He lied and, said I was an absentee parent. I've never been absentee a day in my daughter's life. He's just a piece of. So anyway, needless to say, I never paid.
Well, the thing is, he suffered from PTSD. He's a veteran, so we got to give him some slack.
Yeah, no. And Mr. Research says, he says, Xerxes. Okay, so King Xerxes is in the Bible, did not ask for his wife, and his wife was offered to him. Moses had a wife offered to him by Jethro. That's why we need to do a lie. Well, I don't go to church. I'm not religious, and I don't really ascribe to the Bible. Now, I do know the Bible, but I think right now we're kind of we're doing a comparison. And I mean, part of the two examples I gave and brothers Samuel gave and the two that you gave, it's obviously it's a contradiction, right? So who's right? And this is coming out of the same Bible. So which is right? And Frank says, I agree with certain things. Kevin Samuel says, like he also says women and men should work out their marriages versus split up. Yeah, but did it take Kevin Samuels for y'all to know that? Or did we see Big Mama and them doing that? They worked it out and they got stories to tell. And Terry says, I stayed 22 years, even let him stay home. I made the money for all of us. I scheduled all the doctor's appointments and counseling, been patient, prayed and prayed. And swallow my pride so much. Oh, Lord.
Oh, my God. My number is 976. That's what I'm looking for.
She ain't looking for you, okay? And how you doing, Leo, son? He says, that happened to a friend of mine. Best friend lived, I think my boyfriend lived with her for years. He died and the family didn't even list her in the funeral program, but they asked her to help pay for the funeral. I'd be damned. I would be damned.
Same thing happened to my friend. They expected her to pay her share of burying this dude because they lived as husband and wife. It's so sad. That's what I'm saying. You ladies, and here's the one thing my mom used to say to me as a son. She said, son, you could ruin and take away the best years of a woman's life, but a woman can never take the best years of a man's life away. meaning that I can still have sex and have kids up until I'm dead or whatever the deal is. Whereas you women, I mean, don't take this the wrong way. You guys have a shelf life, in the time that you can produce kids and all this other stuff. And, so it's like, don't waste their time. If you're really not going to be with that chick, like don't waste her time. Let her go and do what she needs to do so she can be happy.
Yeah, that's too much like right. And Terry says, I did everything to make our marriage work. It got too expensive, both financially and emotionally. I'm very happy right now. If I take on another man, he's got to add positivity to my life. Absolutely. My father always says that a person should be an asset and not a deficit. They got to be adding something positive. Can't just be taken away from the relationship. So I'm with you on that one.
I'm highly positive, right, D?
Sometimes. And the pioneer, you say, of course, I would marry a woman who proposed to me. If I loved her when I was younger, I loved the chase, quote unquote. So women chasing me was sometimes a turnoff. But as I've gotten older, I've learned better. You just tired now. You don't want to do the work. You can't run no more.
Yeah. Pioneer. Remember, like when we were younger, you would play basketball and you could play the whole game, no problem. Now you go in there for 3 minutes and then you're ready to sit down. Like, let the younger guy go in, and you're just content.
Me too. You're too tired to do the chase now. And she says, do Jewish people marry Nazis? If not, why do we? It seems backwards.
Yep. Jewish people do marry Nazis. Absolutely. Look what they're doing in Israel right now. They are practicing apartheid. They've let the black folks, shipping the black folks out of there. They're just Nazis under another name.
All right. And Magically Me says, I want a companionship, but I don't want to live with him. I think I need my space and he needs his. Also, we come together when we come together, but also individually. Who said we have to live together? You sound like my daughter. My daughter says that she wants to be married, but she wants to have her house over. It could be connected.
Yeah,
have her house and he have his house, and
then you get together for your visitation.
And then there's a bridge that they can go back and forth. But she's like, I want my own house.
You know what's really amazing on this thread today, and it's on usually. You see all of these women on here, and no shade to you ladies. You guys are beautiful, you're intelligent and stuff. And, some of you guys on here are very single. I just don't get it. That blows my mind.
You know what? A lot of very single, I'll say people, right? But since you brought up ladies, a lot of very single ladies are very traumatized too. And that's why I'm just keep it real. So why a lot of women, that's why I was single for so long. Listen, before my relationship now, I was single for 3 years and I said, I'm going to be single. I'm team single. I'm living a single. I was single because I was like, I don't want to do that no more. Because every relationship I've been in was lying, was cheating. I was just what did I do? Was I freaking the devil in my past life? And so I was content on being single.
And she got small and just working out, just mad.
I'm working out now too, brother. And let's see here. Angela says she's already inherently humble as it compares to him. He is supposed to plead for her hand for once. It's the only decision that is all hers from that point on. That's a very beautiful point. She gets to decide if I want to enter into this union with you, because after that, if you're doing it right, he's the head of the household, right? He is making most of the decision. Of course, it's really the woman's decision if she's doing it right. But, he is in that role now. So I like that. And Terry says Haitian is black. They're somewhat different, but once they become Americanized, they're no different. I dated white, Moroccan, Latino, Nigerian. I'm good. So she's like, listen, I done tried them all and it came out with the same outcome. All right.
So wait, remember that movie where they said that's the rainbow dating type or something? You just think.
Oh. Frank says, Carmen, can you wait that long? Same biological clock ticking. Okay. And the pioneer says, Donovan, keep in mind that while over 90% of Haitians are black, not all of them are. She may be with a Creole, Arab, Asian, or even Caucasian Haitian. Some of them do exist on the island still.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And Terry says, I left my home too. The more I hear this, the more I know I was the man. Wow. Yeah, don't no woman ever want to be in a position to be the man, right? Listen, I'm speaking for the women. It's exhausting being a woman for a whole host of reasons. So now couple that with trying to be having to be the man too. That's That's a job in and of
Well,
itself.
sometimes I think about women that are in government or in the military, whatever. Let's say, and you're in a leadership position. Let's say like Kamala Harris or whoever. I'm not a Kamala Harris friend. Think about it. You got to do this. You got all this responsibility. You spend hours out. You got to raise these kids. You got to go home and traditionally cook every now and then you got to go home and screw this man. And I hate to say it like that, but you know what I mean? As a woman, I see that part of it because you're already tired just from existing in the average day. And, and I can just take this from when I was married. And I was married to a fellow military person. You're tired and you're exhausted. And it got to a point to where your like sex life was just like, you really was like, you only enjoyed it when you went on vacation. It was like, okay, let's do this. Let's be done with it.
And that's one of those things. See, when you was younger, you was like, oh, no, I can't see not doing that. Shoot, I'm going to be doing it every day. When you get older, it's like, didn't we do something 6 months ago?
You got to make appointments. Okay, on Wednesday, and it just gets like that. And I'm saying it from a man's point of view, like me, I don't give a damn. But for you women, with all the things that you guys had a checklist on a daily basis, then have to come home and then deal with this guy,
Morty says, I think if you meet someone in general that like and enjoy you as much as a human being and was not just after you for sex and you got to court meaning you're taking your time getting to know that person. Yes, indeed. And Terry says, I'm so busy getting prepared doing me. I know that's right. And she says Colombia. He says he was from DC. Okay. And Moni says I can go for that, but nowadays people have arterial motives. And he says in a lot of cases when they get married, either they want that person's money, they want that namesake of marriage or something out of it. Yeah, well, that's what it used to be. That was like a normal thing back in the day. It was for money and property and things like that. But then it transitioned to love, right? So the love thing is new within the last couple of centuries, if you will.
And the funny thing is, I remember when I got married, it was $3,000 just for the food, right? And I got married at the base in Alabama at the Officers Club. And I paid $3,000 for the food. You'll see people, you want this big wedding and stuff like that. But if you don't come from means, what is the number one thing that leads to divorce, especially when you're a young person and you have that big wedding? They say when you have that big wedding within 2 years, that couple divorces because of finances. They really couldn't afford, you're still paying for the wedding 2 years into it. And it's just a sad situation.
I would never do that. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be paying $20 million for a wedding. That's it. That's what they say. People pay for a wedding, but they don't invest in the marriage. So that is backwards. And Yoruba, how you doing? He says, I think he was murdered in Puerto Rico. Okay. And Kiki says, not getting married worked for some couples, though. Oprah Stedman, Countess Bledsoe and Daryl Bell, Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell. I think that I think what people in that situation need to do is put their desires in writing, gets legalized so that when one should die, there's an understanding and no one can take precedence in that situation. I think for people who want that kind of dynamic, no marriage, but together long term, it could work. Just have to have your documentation in order. And I agree with that. Some people are just like, I don't want to get married in that way. I mean, it does make it convenient, I guess,
Right. But think about if you bring kids in that situation, now you have a legal ramifications to deal with. When you're married, it makes it a lot easier for the legal system to disperse your assets and all the other stuff that goes with it. I always say on the show, I try to do a family tree, right? And I did this family tree and okay, how a family tree works, ladies, we need to know who your baby's daddies are, or they can't be on the tree. You don't need to know that information. Well, then you can't be on the tree.
Stop it. Carmen says that, Frank, I didn't say I was waiting. I have friends and family who did better on round 2 or 3 and sometimes 4. Yeah, I'm going to tell y'all, my mama used to always say, God rest her soul. She said sometimes a woman got to kiss a lot of frogs to find her prince. But I like to add on to that. She said kiss, not screw a lot of frogs. Okay? There's a difference. Hey, Janelle, how you doing? He says, hey, y'all, I'm doing a 30-day bid on Facebook penitentiary. What did you do?
Yeah, you need to put some money on your books.
Yeah, let us know. Did you send a file and a baked cake or something? Let us know what we got to do. All right, so I'm going to catch up to these comments because I see that I am behind. Oh, Jesus. Okay, y'all want to see something? Watch how fast I read these comments. Maybe not. Okay, here we go. Mr. Pryor says, having said that, I love Black women, got my own, and would never move in with a woman, been married twice, have 2 adult children and a son and daughter. Would take it a miracle for me to get married again. Well, damn. Money says, but I've noticed when you date different ones out of the Black race, and if they happen to be any form of Caucasian, they become very intimidated at the idea that the male genitalia is bigger and better. Oh my God. And Peterson, how you doing? He says, what's a third world country?
The United States.
Stop it.
The United States. Look what's going on in the United States. This is the definition of a third world country, where the rich are so rich and the majority of the people are so poor. That's the definition of a third world country.
Well, and technically it's an underdeveloped country. That's technically what it means. But yeah, some people are arguing that the United States is becoming a third world country. And Frankie says, Carmen, I see it. Ariel, how you doing? He says, Shalom, my beautiful sister Demetra, and salute my brother Donovan from another. How you doing? And Frank says, Carmen, I agree. And Samuel says, I have noticed that this mostly white men who get our Black women pick our finest, and when it's reversed, Black men choose their worst. And see, now you're trying to get in trouble, but I do agree with you.
No, I do agree. My brother got him one straight out of a Jerry Springer episode.
I hope he ain't watching. And she says, ha, ha, ha. And Amani says, you don't have to leave the country to leave your race. Black women could easily not be race loyal, especially with the domestic violence rates in our community. But I disagree. I mean, I digress because I'm not bashing. I hear you. And Terry says, I love that little kitty. She's so cute. And Ariel says, talking about your cat, Don, and says, Don, how many cats do you have in that house? He's the cat man, a cat man.
Yeah, I grew up to be a cat man. I have 3 cats. 2 of them are legally mine, and then there's a feral cat, T'Challa, that ended up staying around because he was hurt and I helped him out. But the Siamese cat is Tylan, and the older cat, the tuxedo cat, is Misty, and she's like 12 years old. So,
Catman of Catmandu. And Mr. Researcher says, you're not Chinese, but you're speaking on the topic of women who propose to men, and you will find that he says, Nate, 98% of the world does this. So that's why Chinese comment was important. Okay. And then Shamesh, what's so funny? And ahead of how you doing, says, hey, y'all, so we have to pick a struggle. Are we participating in this Western culture or not? Are we trying to reestablish our roots in Africa? And what are those? I'm trying to go back to Africa. I made that decision today. I was like, I can't take it here no more. I'm trying to establish some roots somewhere in Africa. When, I don't know, but I'll let y'all know when y'all see a nice greenery behind me and, and I just see more at peace, you'll know I've made that move.
Yes, but let's move to like kind of close to the coast, just because we gotta roll out of there.
Yeah, Cape Town, Seychelles, something, And Terry says Donovan's so silly. Yes, he is. And Carmen says Donovan is right. I have an uncle who did that Filipino situation as well. Her background prevented her from leaving, and he got the kids. Ooh. And Shimeshu says 27 years married, 30 together. No difference. She just popped the question first. It says GD, husband, wife, and it says first God. Okay, first God, husband, wife, and children in that order. Okay. And the pioneer says, I haven't dated an Asian woman, but I made it my business to try to learn about different cultures and notice races and cultures and notice that Asian women tend to be very strong and tough when they need to be. Shit. Have you seen Black women? Yeah.
And you got to remember, a lot of Asian women, depending on which Asian woman you get, like if you get a Vietnamese woman, they are like that because a lot of them come from abject poverty, and they have an agenda and they believe in group economics. So if you're going to marry, okay, a good example, Tiger Woods. Did you guys realize that Tiger Woods' mother made sure he took care of his Asian side, didn't do anything for his older Black side? So that's just in their culture. They take care of theirs.
Right. Yeah, but Black women can be pretty tough too. Hey, Antoine, how you doing? And Mr. Researcher says, thank you. He is speaking what I'm speaking. When you go outside of the country, you as a woman cannot have this overzealous anti-male behavior. They will legally shut you down. That is why. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So ladies, I'm gonna give you a quick tip. If your man says, oh, girl, let's go to Abu Dhabi or let's go to Dubai. We're gonna have a party. We're gonna turn up there. You better remember this. When you get into that country and then your man says, oh, let me hold your passport. You have just given up all of your rights in that country. So be careful.
You won't be holding my damn passport. One who cares, how you doing? And Mr. Research says you don't need to call and show. Get an all-star panel of intellectual. Mr. Research will be there. Okay, one day I will do that. I'll, have a panel up here, and we'll make it happen. Just when we do that, we're just not able to read all the comments when we have extra people on the show. So that kind of leaves out the audience, but we might do that one day. And Leather Electric Car says, I meant to say, hit this and you got to hit the door, replying to what you said earlier. My bad typing on this damn phone. No worries. And Mr. Research says, do we need to buy financially? Contribute, Donovan. Let's get an all-star cast. Call in some hot topics. We'd love to do it. Tried to do it before, but yes, if you guys want to participate, we'll get it together. I actually can send you guys a link. It's probably easier that way. Send you a link so you can actually be on the show. So, instead of calling in, because live is foggy.
Yeah, and real quick on the show, and I understand people don't want to be seen or whatever. There's a thing in the program, like right now, like if I turn off my camera.
I do.
Yeah, like you'll have something like that. So you can put like that to be like covered. So you don't, we're aware that people, don't want to put their face.
Oh, we want to see your beautiful face.
Absolutely.
Face on the screen.
Yeah. So.
And she says, yes, it's levels. And Magically Me says, yes, red flag. And Carmen says, that's right. There are levels to this. I didn't ask him to marry me either. And Terry says, it is alarming when a man wants to move in with me. Yeah, it's like, why? What's really going on, right?
And real quick, Terry, and even you other ladies, can I just ask you, do you ever ask a man to see his credit score? Because I think that's very important when you're going to, start dating a man. I tell my nieces that all the time. And a man shouldn't be embarrassed to see where his credit score, even if your credit score is 400, that's the majority of people in the United States. But is that something also important that, you would think that you would ask before you get in a relationship with the dude? Because that might be an indicator of why he doesn't have a place to kind of go. Maybe. Yeah,
but then there's, like I said, there's levels to it. Are you interested in building? I mean, I'm not saying what's right or wrong, but I'm saying there's levels to it, right? But yeah, I mean, what's your credit score, baby? And Magically Me says homosexual. Yeah, that's somebody who's looking for a place to stay. And Moni says, Donovan, you are right. I don't believe at this point in my life and sleeping with anybody that's not my husband. So when I say we can be friends, don't mean you have sex. I mean, you are friends. And that's probably the best way to go, right? Let's be friends. Donovan's a hooker, that's why. And Magically Me says, men don't get in a relationship for shelter. Man do get in a relationship for shelter. Yeah, that's that homosexual thing. Women too. And she says, you're laughing, and the pioneer says, different races have different cultures. We were trained to think the European/Caucasian way is the only way, a right way. But when allowed to be free, nature tells each individual what is right for them. I agree with that, actually. I really do. And Mr. Research says, the big Walmart, that's a true. They do play the game to get their family hooked up. So yes, I do understand that, but they do propose. And Carmen says, I got family who's shacking, people dying, are left with no benefits and lots more bills. Yes, he F that. And Mr. Research says, Black Joy Parade in Oakland, everybody come February 2022. You can also come and check out the Black Cowboy Parade. Okay, I want to be there. And Donovan, how you doing from YouTube? It says, good morning, Auntie D and Uncle D. I've been watching the shows late due to work on this peninsula in preparation to get back to the States. Also, check your Facebook Messenger, Uncle D. All right, so Donovan, check your Messenger. And Magically Me, and he says, I'm going to choose my own way. I'm not going to allow the Bible Society to tell me what my relationship looks like. We are forced to live up to these expectations that don't fit us individually. I agree with you. Do what's best for you. And Armani says, playing devil's advocate, there are more Black women than Black men. Add in Black men marrying outside the race. The Black man who won't marry, and women like this who will not wait. You'll end up alone. Nothing wrong with being alone. He says, some people it works. Some people don't want to be alone, and some people want to date somebody who looks like them. So it's like, what do you do? Then there's that other part of it that says, well, you might just have to accept dating a man who's got other women. Then in that case, he'd just be alone if he was me, right? And Carmen says, Big Mama and them slept in separate rooms. They couldn't go nowhere, okay? They slept in separate rooms until we went to sleep. Terry says, when I left, I took all my children with me and I was pregnant and a college student. 2 were on their own. I put 2 in an apartment, sent 1 to college, took the other 8 to the shelter. I am done. Whew. My goodness, you ought to write a book. And Carmen says, true. And Shemesh, it says, Samuel divorced 2 times, giving marriage advice, downgrading women. Sam is flimsy too. He hates women. See, ooh, and ooh. Magically Me says, the Black Cowboy in Galt, California are the best. Always feels like home there too. I've never heard of it. I'd like to check it out. And TS175, how you doing? He says, laugh out loud, shelf life. Not even crazy. Hey, Janelle, how you doing? And Monet says, my husband and I have been separated for 2 years. All he gave me was 2 kids and a look into preaching world. Dating is a chore these days. Yes, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, you know, that's why they call it the beautiful struggle. You're supposed to go through the beautiful struggle when you're young with that lifelong partner. But again, marriages aren't lasting long enough at all. And again, you look at our women, especially our women, Black men, they are struggling to raise these kids in poverty because the other spouse is not there to support. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So it makes it a lot harder for our children to be raised in a balanced household and an economically viable household when the other provider is not there, or the main provider, not the other provider, the main provider is not there.
Right. And D, right, how you doing? Says, laugh out loud, no generational wealth. And our brother Samuel says, there is a science to marriage. In many cultures, they are arranged, like with the king and queens of England. When it comes to Black culture, they try to make it into coming to America. Yeah, you know, I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. And the Pioneer says, I agree with you both on not necessarily taking the Bible on how we should live our lives. There are too many contradictions and too oppressive for women. Most women aren't going back to that. You ain't lying, brother. And Terry, you said very single by choice. Yes, by choice. And Frank says, news ain't talking about how the Israelis are treating Africans bad in their country. They came for Israel, right? They're not going to, but see, that's why we got to stay abreast, because they're not telling you that. They're telling you.
And that's why you need to start listening, you know, if you guys get a chance to the new Black media, because they're actually talking about it. The African Diaspora Channel is really big in Africa and telling what's going on over there.
Mm-hmm. And Magically Me says, I had to get healed. Yes, same here. Took a long time. And, you know, I think we'll always be healing, right? Because when things happen, the trauma comes back. You know, it's like, oh. Carmen says, hell yeah, Demetra, trauma. Exactly. People are single because of some trauma. Hey, sis. And Lena, that's my sister.
Hey. Say hi to, what's my girl? Fluffy. Happy birthday, Fluffy.
And Brother Samuel says, so did I miss the wedding? No, you didn't miss the wedding. There has not been a wedding. Hey, Pamela, how you doing? It says, good afternoon, Demetra and Donovan. I made it home safely from my friend's place. I'm so glad. And Leo's son says, I was talking to my cousin, shaking my head. And Frank says, Demetra, I agree. Just because a woman's single don't mean she's not traumatized or don't got issues. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to that, you know. And Moni says, sorry for the delay. I just got to the laundromat. It's raining hard. I stayed at the Quran. It's also, or you stated, I think that's what you're saying, that the Quran is also flawed because it was written by a supposed man that committed all types of adultery in his marriage. Okay. And the Pioneer says, Donovan, most women are single today because they don't need men anymore. That's real. They still like us and still like sex, but don't need men to support them. And now they have the option not to have one. And there's a lot of truth to that. It's like, I told a guy once I was dating, I asked him, kept saying, can you cut the grass? Can you cut the grass? Can you cut the grass? And he never would cut the grass. So I figured out how to cut the grass. I mean, to this day, y'all, I can open up my own landscaping business. I can hedge the bushes. I can edge the lawn. I could pull the weeds, and I could do all that. But I learned how to do it because he wouldn't do it. And I said to him, well, shit, what I need you for?
Well, you know what you need him for.
I mean, hell, technically, you don't need a man for that. I mean, I'm just saying if you want to be technical now. But I'm saying, damn, like the things that, not saying that just the yard work makes him a man, but it's like, you want me to be soft and do the things that women do, and I got to be out here getting calluses on my hand to do the yard? I almost said the N word, y'all. I'm trying to get
Wait a minute, y'all didn't have a problem going out in the field and doing all that during slavery. What's the problem?
The lies you heard. Okay. Okay, so let me see here. One who cares says exactly. And Leo Son says, I was talking to my cousin about that. She's divorced and has no interest in dating anymore because she says she doesn't want the drama. Yeah, the drama and the trauma is like, I'm good, right?
Well, I have a question. Yeah, I have a question. Within, why is it that so many women are so turned off by dating men that they date women that look like men?
Hey, I can't speak on that, brother. And Marty says, I say what the Bible says is correct. You may not like it, but oh well, but you will obey at the end of judgment when you give account to your deeds. And I'm more afraid of God than people in either way. Well, I mean, I don't really like read the Bible. I've read the Bible, I'm not well versed on the Bible, but I think they're also the laws of the universe. When you do good, it comes back to you. To me, it's really that simple, right? Kind of. And Magically Me says, and now that I've now that I've had a form of healing, it's hard to find someone who is open to the therapy and loving in a healthy way. Until then, I'm single, but open only to a whole person mentally and emotionally. You know what? Good luck, because there's a lot of crazy people.
Hey, you can accept that comment until I shot my shot, okay?
There's a lot of people out. You know what though? I agree. I've never been I've been to therapy a long time ago, right? But I am going back to therapy because there's some things I need to talk to people about that just, somebody who's on a neutral field and they could just really help me sort out a lot of things that, have happened to me. Nothing major, but I just need to talk to somebody. But that, especially in our community, therapy is frowned upon. Like, you don't need to just take some Robitussin, you be all right. And Elena says 50-50 chores. Yeah, some people want 50-50 chores. I'm one of those people. I just want to clean the house because I know how to clean the house. And I just feel like if I do it, then it's clean, right?
Wait a minute, Elena. Come on now. With 3 gifted children, those 50-50 chores should be 0-0 for you and Professor Smitty. It should be 0-0.
They put them kids to work. You can believe that, okay? And they all highly intelligent, honor roll, all of that. So they well-rounded. And Carmen says, can't work a horse and ride it too. Wow. And she says, everything you're saying for the duty of women, it's the same for the man. Less drama. Yes, indeed. And Leo Son, that's part of what led to my divorce. Exhaustion from work, child, household chores, and then sex. I was the first one up and the last one to go to bed, and it made me resentful. Yeah. If you're resentful, you ain't in the mood. It's like, nah, I'm a pass. Thank you.
And wait. And real quick. And then Leo Son, after doing all that, I'm not saying that your man cheated. You're doing all this other stuff. And then to find out that, possibly your man is cheating. What a slap in the face. What a slap in the face.
And that's why that show Snapped exists. The Pioneer says, Moni, I prefer a society that doesn't uplift one religion over the other, where almost all are allowed, so that those who feel the Bible or Quran is best for them can choose it, not force it. Yes, indeed, a choice. And Moni says, so when I say that you can be friends, you can have a friend with a person where he can date who he wants. If he's interested in you and he really wants to be with you, he's going to pursue and marry you. I agree. Yes. And Brother Samuel says, Baba OJ Kroon, the group Arrested Development, said, if women outnumber men, they're converging, take on more than one husband, and vice versa for men. Yeah, if that's what you're into. Me personally, I'm not the sharing type. I just couldn't see myself doing it. No. I mean, a lot of times you don't want to share a bed with the person you with, let alone somebody else.
Yeah, after the deed is done, are you still here?
Right. Okay. Like your feet are touching mine. You're too close to my side of the bed. Okay. DJ Charisma says, I thought that I met the person, but then he said, if he pays my mortgage and I have to pay the utilities, real men say that the women shouldn't have to worry about any of that.
Man, a real man brings home the whole loaf, not half the loaf. I will tell you, ladies, that every time. Don't get me wrong. If he has his check and everything, he pays the mortgage, the rent, and everything that he can pay off that check, and you want some cable and it doesn't cover the cable, well, ladies, that's where you come in and you supplement your man to keep onto that beautiful struggle.
Absolutely. So let's see here. I think I'm getting to it. I think I'm going to get to the bottom of these. I'm going to try anyway. Okay, so she messaged us, if she has to come home and do me, then I have to come home and do her too. The children are both focused together. Yes, indeed. And Mona says, although I believe in force, I never believe in forcing anybody to do anything. Whoever God had me for, he'll bring to me. And that's why I've had issues of being married, though I've been a widower before. God is best.
Yeah, she had the success.
Huh?
She had the success.
Oh, God. Okay. And Mr. Research says, traumatized. You're right. And that's why I personally am afraid of USA women. I don't talk bad about them. I just let them do their thing. I'd rather deal with a foreign Black French woman. Okay, that sounds kind of wee-wee.
Oh, yes. Those French women. Woo, yes, brother. Oh, yeah.
And Terry says, leading is exhausting. No woman in her right mind volunteers doing masculine roles and still have to be beautiful and feminine, the caring mother, loving feminine wife and provider. What's left for him? Damn good question. And Mona says, let's be clear. You can be single by choice, Donovan, because some of the men, depending on the part of the land that you are in, are full of crap lies, and some of them are chronic cheaters, put you at risk. Law.
Right. Can I say this real quick, Moni? A great president once said, I trust you, but verify. So when that guy says he does this, he does that, he does this, verify. Why do you guys take these people at their word? He should have no problem with you showing you his paycheck. He should have no problem with you showing up at his job to bring him lunch or whatever you're going to do to check out his story.
Yes, indeed. And Mr. Researcher says, okay, Donovan, sometimes men are not asking those women to go do those 40 hours. And you also say sometimes the woman's left to be out there in the professional world is what's demanding her to do 40. Yes, indeed. You also say, Donovan, you got to be honest. Some of these women could do at least 24, 30 hour rotation, but they want to do 40 so they can be impressed with themselves. You also say you got to understand the man's sex life to do, he says 40, and then I got to come and supply the pipe. Just the same thing, Mr. Donovan. Okay. And Marty says, as you get mature, you start working on yourself so you can be better when I command excellence, I'm ready, have it myself now. I'm mature, I'm into God and going to do what God says. Okay. And Kiki says, I think for anyone, it's about just finding the yin to your yang, the spirit and energy that connects you with you and your life, who's right for you and not for who's right for the world by other people's standards. People are getting married but not having marriages. As a single person observing people and making this relationship stuff so difficult nowadays, too many rules shaking my head. This world is making it too hard. People are choosing mates based on other people's standards and views. Yes, ma'am. And Zebras, how you doing? Says, hey, man, don't tell people that. And Carmen says, I am enjoying y'all tonight, and we're enjoying you guys as well. And Pioneer says, I agree with you. The U.S. is almost, if not, in fact, a third world country today where the middle class is being decimated, and soon we'll only have the rich and working poor and destitute. That's what we have already. And she mentions facts, Africa. And yes, if you guys are in the watch parties, please click the link. I would love to read your comments if I get to the bottom of these. And Armani says, for real, they did research, and what's happening in the United States currently against our Black people is considered a humanitarian crisis. If what is happening here was happening somewhere else, the U.S. would invade. Yes, indeed.
Well, no, not necessarily, because you guys remember the Rwandan genocide and all the stuff that's still going on in Africa right now. The United States is doing absolutely nothing.
Well, I think we know he ain't talking about no Black countries, but, everywhere else, right? But we know why they really do it is because it's a monetary gain for them in some way, shape, or form, right? And Morning says, I got a cousin that will be 35 this year, has 3 children, 2 different fathers, never been married. And I told her, instead of having this man live with you, make him marry you. Well, you can't really make anybody marry you. Maybe she just needs to make a decision to say, okay, let me free up some space around here. And Magically Me says, I'm working on going back to Africa with my children also. We'll hope to see you there. And she says, have you seen, don't ever put Black women down Yeah, we shouldn't put each other down, right? And Leather and Luxury Car says black women to me are far more hardcore than almost anyone. I agree. And Marty says to be away from your family 20 years and you come back and see the younger ones doing far worse than what you was in your 20s, and it's amazing. So when I tell them you have to do it God's way, is simple. And Mr. Research says, why does that person in that chat tell a lie about domestic violence and men? Does she not know in 2021 black women are suffering from lesbians having the highest domestic violence, not men? Yes, I've actually heard and read that lesbian relationships are very violent as far as domestically. So yeah, sometimes it's probably worse.
Yeah, look into the WNBA. I'm just using that as an example. The incidences of domestic violence within those relationships is like out of the roof over there. I mean, some of your great WNBA players got caught up in all kinds of stuff. And then you got the ones that are straight coming out saying how, being straight is a detriment to their WNBA career.
Yep. And let's see here. And Moni says, Demetra, I want to know when are you going to talk about doing facials? I will. I'm going to talk about it one day. I promise you. Like I said, I've been out of cosmetology for so long. I probably really shouldn't technically be talking about it. But Mr. Research says, see, that's another white man that got the kids in court, but the USA black women likes to keep that secret. Yeah, they ain't going to tell that part of it. And Marty says, Donovan, you got to show Felix the cat. He's very cute since you guys deal with California to Texas to meet you. I do hope you'll be doing some series in the future on different hair and beauty. I will. That's what the people want. And Atlanta says, thank God I'm married. You know what? I've heard a lot of people say that, like, thank God I ain't got to be out there in the streets no more.
Yes. Well, the funny thing is when I first met Elena and I heard she was from Panama, I was like, Professor Smitty, you got a good one. You got a good one. There is not an ugly woman in the country of Panama. And brothers, you haven't been there? Go there. Even the older women look good.
Oh, so Terry, you met 7 with me to the shelter. Okay. And Mr. Pybrand says, if you have a panel, I will come up and participate. And you have my FaceTime. Okay, we're going to put it together. And tell me what y'all want to talk about. I might just let the man do it and give me a break. And Monty says, I love the fact that being on my own, I can get up when I want to, decide to put on makeup. That is wonderful. When I want to attract, I go out. But I see the quality of men have lowered. And I think he meant feminized. Ooh, Lord. Terry says, but I am not dating anyone. So I actually haven't. When I was dating, they told on themselves. This last one told me if I kidnap, quote unquote, him and bring him to Newcastle, he wouldn't scream. It's like, huh? I'm not trying. You want me to carry you over the threshold too, huh? I'm not going to do that. And Mr. Research says, no, Donovan, they're not going to ask about credit scores because they're not looking for necessarily long-term legacy. They're looking for a guy to sexually control and who will obey her. Yeah, see, that's something that we just need to teach our kids. Credit score is important, and I'm not saying a person is a horrible person for not having a credit score. I mean, certain things happen, right? But those are the conversations you should have, especially if you're looking at a long-term relationship. How we gonna buy a house and you got a 300 credit score? And that ain't gonna happen.
And with this new thing, now that the economy's crashed, you really can't get anything if you don't have a good credit score. They don't care how much money you got in the bank. They're not loaning you money based on how much money you got in the bank. They based it on what your credit score is. How do I know that? Cornucopia.com, Walter Coulter. Go ahead and check him out.
Absolutely. And she says, my wife, family is well off. I came from the hood. In this case, I have not. He says regular family and pay, and she's got me. Is that what you mean? Or she sought me? And Monty says, like I'm going back to finish the hair license this year, 30 years as a manicurist, and I want more money. And I've always dated me, and that was into money. Men, I think that was into money, but at the same time, who wants STD? No one. You ain't lying about that. And Terry says, when they start asking for money, don't have a home or live with others, working under the table or other shortcuts, I don't need his credit score. You ain't lying. Hey, Ricky, how you doing? He says, you need to go back to school. Do you hear yourself? Uh-oh. Who? I don't need no more education, okay? Donovan needs it.
Yeah, by the way, I graduate again on the 26th. So this week I'll be graduating with my 12th degree.
Yeah, and I don't need no more degrees either. I'm good.
And by the way, I want to thank you, taxpayers, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to be educated the way that I am.
I almost flipped you off, but then I don't want to get in trouble. And Marcus says, I don't know if it's already been said, but I will say it. Oh, a lot of Black relationships and marriages are affected by the climate that we're living in. How to try and build a loving, sound relationship in the eye of the storm. I think it's damn near impossible when you are frustrated and angry more than you are happy and content. I would say the environment probably plays more than half the problem. You know what? You're absolutely right. It's in this climate, yeah, it's hard to be romantic. And Terry says, everyone told me I should write a book. I never thought, I never get through it. I look back at those things and seeing how far I've come. Retelling it is reliving it. Even now, I'll never get through writing it down. And Monty says, some people, Demetra, is still marrying for the sake of money or name or position. Let's be clear. Here in Michigan, it happens all the time because I know, because I did it myself. Again, be wiser. Okay. And the Pioneer says, Don, your family was in the nation. Have you noticed that children of parents who adhere to NOI diet and lifestyle tend to be very smart, healthy, successful, even when they didn't join the religion?
Yeah, I noticed that my family was never into the nation. I studied Islam when I was in the Middle East with the military, and that's where I got my name, and I changed my name when I got out of the military and all that other good stuff like that. But Demetra's family was in the nation, and they know. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but my family's Catholic, and I'm a Catholic, but I do follow Islam.
Yeah, I was born into the Nation of Islam. My father is still practicing Muslim, has been since he was 19, and he's 77. So you can best believe I get that good teaching all the time. I have all the books back here. How to Eat to Live, both volumes, A Message to the Black Man in America, and a whole host of other things. So yes, I would agree with you. Children who are raised in that manner they tend to be very smart. They teach their children to be thinkers. They don't tell them necessarily what to think to some degree, but they teach them how to think and, how to do the math, if you will.
But in regards to Demetra's nephews and nieces, I'm going to tell you, these kids are highly intelligent. One is working on space travel and all kinds of crap. I'm serious. I mean, it's an amazing thing to see that going on. And these kids are the oldest one is 12?
It's 14.
14. And, space travel and like the Star Trek stuff of like the transporter and stuff. They're working on that stuff right now. Amazing.
Right. And I hope they can transport me a few places. And Marty says some people invest $100,000 in a wedding. Some might invest $10,000. Depends on what you and your partner want to do. I like having a nice diamond that's more than a mediocre 2 to 3 carat. Lasts forever. Okay. And she says, Ricky, did I spell bullet right? And Marty says some women will allow a man to live with them 10, 20, 30, 50 years. Then when the man dies, if they didn't have insurance policy on them, they start looking stupid, which I don't understand. Yeah, you got to get that in writing. And Terry says, with batteries and an outlet, you don't need them for that either. And Ricky says, no, you didn't. And she says, smoking sip. And Armani says, yes, promote Black mental health. You're amazing, queen. Yeah, we need to, check into, just talk to somebody. It's like sort your thoughts out. There's nothing wrong with that. Moni says, maybe I'm old-fashioned, Donovan, but my mother always told me instead of lying down and having children out of wedlock, illegitimate. In other words, you make sure that you have yourself together, married. That's what I teach my daughter.
Yeah, but when has that playbook changed? That's what I wonder. When did that playbook change?
Now it's being taught to be a city girl. That's the highest aspiration nowadays. And she says everyone works together. And the Pioneer says, yeah, look at Niecy Nash, who had a husband and kids, and now she claims she didn't know she liked women until she was 50. Side-eye. Let me do it for you. He said, and then chose to marry a woman who dresses like a man. Yeah, that is very weird. Very weird. And let's see here. And Donovan says on the, I believe, communication, the expectation of what is needed prevents a lot of headache between men and women of what is needed. Unfortunately, some of us learn this after going through chaos. Yes, you have to learn how to communicate. Say what's on your mind and say it the right way. You know what I mean? Like, let me tell you, mother. Like, learn how to make it to where people want to hear it and just be able to just say what it is. Don't say, well, you remember back in the day when I was trying to tell you something? Well, what was you trying? Just like say it, right? Just say what it is you want and then don't deviate from that, right? Especially if it's things you just absolutely have, you cannot compromise on. Don't get with somebody who is going to make you do that.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that Black men do to women, or just men do to women in general, we take their choice away. Okay, you didn't tell her about the baby. Now the baby's come out with your side piece. Let her make the decision if she's going to stay with you or not. You know, you take that away. In a lot of situations, if you had told her about the baby to begin with, or your side chick to begin with, she might have worked with you. But now she's at a point where, like, look, da da da. And that's where a lot of men, I think, make a lot of mistakes. We take their choice away.
And a lot of times they lie because they know the woman gonna be like, you got me messed up. Okay, I'm out of here. And Terry says, I can, although I've never dated a woman. I know women who did that. Masculine lesbians are like men, but they're actually women who have the same female mentality. I couldn't, so I'm just single. I'm with you. Okay, that's a hard pass for me. And let's see here. Am I getting to the bottom of these comments? I think I am. Let's see. Is there light at the end of the tunnel? No. Okay, here we go. And Magically Me says, Moni, I don't feel that we have the right to force a view that was given to us from someone else. We have a choice to reject the Bible, but it seems to offend people. And she says, working together builds the family core from small house duties to small business, keyword together. Moni says, so Demetra, I'd like to know for Memorial Day, are you barbecuing? Nope, not barbecuing. Donovan, are you going to hopefully celebrate with the beautiful Felix? I'm sure he is. And you also say, Magically Me, I'm into God. I don't expect for anybody to do or not do. If your thing is into Satan, enjoy yourself, but I'm never going to stop praising God. Let's be clear. I give God the praise always. Well, I mean, just because you don't go to church don't mean you're into Satan. Remember we talked about that? And Donnell says, settle down to a good choice. Quote the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Absolutely. And Jacqueline, how you doing? He says, you both have a wicked sense of humor. I love it. And thank you. And Moni says, thank you, Demetra and Donovan, for making a wonderful Sunday while I'm doing laundry at the laundromat raining. I'm enjoying both of you. I appreciate you both. I look forward to you every week, and we look forward to you as well. And hello, Mr. 0891. He says, we as Black men need to do is step up and be men. Most of us have a boy mindset. Every chance I get, I try my best to drop that nugget to all of our brothers. And you are a real one. Thank you, King, for that. And Moni says, Magically Me, I'm never going to stop praising God because I'm not a Satan worshiper. Well, again, because you don't go to church, that don't mean you're a Satan worshiper. And Magically Me says, Moni, you don't have the right to choose Satan for me because I don't believe in your religion, hon. That's not fair and not mature either. To each their own. I don't have to agree with you. That is true. And Jonelle says, majority only choose based on feelings and very little research. Know the person you're with is very true. Very few friends just be before a relationship or even relations. A marriage must have a foundation rooted in truth. And nowadays, few even desire to make their word bond. Most move by motive which they hide. You ain't lying. And you guys are agreeing, Magically Me. And Moni says, I think when you mediate a lot, Demetra, as we grow in maturity, and God is good, so he'll show you all the ways he wants. That it really doesn't matter on a mediocre mental aspect. Some men can never get. And you say, Donovan, I was thinking you probably might have about 5 cats. At one point I had 3. Now I'm down to none. I think my new place, I just might buy a stuffed animal. It's fun sometimes. Okay. Yeah, y'all pet people. Y'all can have at that. Frank says domestic violence is big in the LGBTQ community and among police officers. Yes, that is true. And Mr. Research says, Donovan, remember the WNBA great shooting guard shot a bullet at her lesbian Black woman for moving out. Hush, hush. Now Black women don't want us to speak. That's a news clip. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Shamique Holtzclaw. Yeah, that was, unbelievable, stuff like that. And then remember the one, Brittany Griner.
Oh,
the one that plays for Phoenix. She was, I don't know. It was a mess. It was.
They adopted a child, or somebody got impregnated.
No,
by
the one girl got pregnant. They got pregnant together, whatever. And
Brittany wanted out, and they was like, "You still owe child support, boo. Have at it." And Moni says, Donovan, what country have you traveled to that women can just be outspoken and dominant like they are in America, and not made to be subservient like African or Arabian countries? Just want to. I think he meant want to know.
None.
And Armani says, with the current financial state of America, most married households with children can't survive on one income. 40 hours is almost required for both husband and wife, depending on your area. I don't agree with that because it's about managing your resources. Do you need to live in a 5-6 bedroom house? Do you need to have 2 cars in the driveway?
Does the car need to be a Mercedes?
Do you need to have cable? Do you need to have all the zoos and the whams, or do you just need a nice livable area so the woman or whoever? But in my case, my mom stayed at home, and so to take care of the kids. I mean, so those things are doable. You just have to ask those questions: what am I willing to get rid of, right? And Mr. Research says, can we talk about Kwame Brown's comments on black men attacking black men on media? That's one topic, and we can discuss Ayala Van Zant's black women are out of order. Okay, yeah, we can talk about that. Talk about getting a forum together. I wouldn't even mind trying to do that one day in the middle of the week. So me and Donovan will talk about doing that and see what's good for everybody. So inbox me if you're interested. Now I can only have so many people on here and doing the forum. So just let me know. And Marty says, and what's the coolest part of Africa, Donovan and Demetria, that you think? I'll look for my handsome prince if he's a beautiful brown sugar like Paul Mooney. Okay. In his prime, or what he said, or that would be delicious, I think.
Well, us being, here in America, and we're used to like a temperate climate. A lot of us are from the South. We're used to that tropical climate. The Congo is, to me, probably the best place to go. The central part of the continent there, Congo, Uganda, Kenya, any of those places, Liberia, any of those places like that. Definitely, we're all the African
everywhere in Africa is good.
Yeah, everywhere in Africa is good, other than the Sudan. You don't want to go to the Sudan. So,
all right. Okay, so I'm already getting people saying they want to come on. All right, so I'm taking notes. And I will be sending y'all a link when we get this together. And the Pioneer says, if a woman better at making money and a man better at cooking, so be it. One of the reasons the U.S. military is so successful is it focuses on who is best for the role, regardless of gender or sex. And Terry says, I love it, Donovan. I get chastised for getting 3 and wanting 2 more. Marty says, in Michigan, many Hispanic men that live in Southwest Detroit will offer to marry women because they don't want to be deported. Lord have mercy. So I say, praying, ask God, regardless of what someone thinks first. And Magically Me says, I just got my bachelor's and master's working on my doctorate. Go ahead, girl. Said, I'm also a counselor and a massage therapist and own my own business. I want a companion, but don't need one. There
okay, 976-555.
And that ain't even his real number. And Armani says, that was a great point. The current environment affecting relationships. Yes, and that was Marcus that actually said that. And Frank says, Pioneer Nisi for the streets. Ooh, look at the role she plays. Trash, y'all. Wow. And Moni says, Donovan, you've been kicking wonderful game. Many cultures look out for themselves, but when you are not UTC, that that you look out for your own first. So now that's Tiger Woods' daddy is dead. Oh, we are really behind these comments. And Marcus says, it says the reason that a lot of women are in relationships that are unfulfilling and when you feel like you were not protected as a wife or child, many men take because they're protected. They protect the home if they are protecting the family when the majority of the time is spent outside of their home. When the man fears the responsibility of being a great manager, you can love a coward, but in the back of your mind, I hate his ways. Oh my gosh, you preaching. I know Marcus want to come on this show. And she says the ones who marry for money split before 5 and 9 together. The last thing you do is marry for money, superficially shallow individuals. But they used to back in the day.
Yeah, well, for those of you guys that have military background or whatever the deal is, we literally had to tell these young military people, if you're going to get married, because you're supposed to get permission before you get married. That's still on the books in the military. But, nobody enforces that shit. But I used to tell my troops, if you're going to get married, you better reevaluate your relationship at 6 years, because at 7 years, she's entitled to 30% of your retirement if you make this a career. At 10 years, she's entitled to 50%. Demetria would know a lot more about the ins and outs of this than I do. But that's a true thing. It's sad that you have to tell people that. And I used to tell it to both the men and the women, because you will find out those people will get divorced. Your young love, you get divorced. You make it a career and you move on to another relationship, had kids with another person, but you retire from the military. And guess what? He or she still gets part of your retirement because they invested that time in the military family.
Absolutely. And Frank says, magically, congratulations, do your thing. Absolutely. And Jonelle says, no worries, Donovan. A good Catholic is a good Muslim and vice versa. The only thing truly foreign is our ignorance. Absolutely. Moni says, now that Tiger Woods' father is passed on, the mother can control all of the money, just like in Kobe Bryant's wife. These people never think about the black side, only their side. Let's be clear, real selfish. And Frank says, Mr. Info, they don't want to talk about that side of lesbianism. And I think you talk about Mr. Research. Marcus says, you have a massive number of marriages with children. I'm the wife and the children look at the husband as a weakling. It says kids who kiss their father and their mother and tell their friends, my parents ain't shit. Well, damn. Pioneer says, yes, Sister Mitra, I thought you also had a family background in NOI, but wasn't sure. I directed the question toward Donovan, who I thought had a family in NOI. Thanks for the correction. Oh, no worries. And how you doing, Lady Hell? And I saw that you want to come on the show, so we are going to get a panel together. And Magically Me is thanking you, Frank. And Moni says, some here in Michigan in the Arab communities will get a woman to go to their different countries only to mistreat that woman. And this is why I can care less. I trust God first above instinct. All right. And the Pioneer says, Queen, you're going to have to give us a cutoff time for any more questions and comments for us to respect, because some of us will keep on for another 2 hours if you allow. Laugh out loud. I'm gonna get to the end of these comments. We got about 10 more minutes here, so I'm gonna get to them. Also, you guys see the toothpaste in the back. It is a Prodent Max. If you guys are interested in buying black-owned toothpaste that's organic, naturally, it whitens your teeth and it tastes good, doesn't leave a chemical taste in your mouth, you can go to the link in the description box and you can go from there. So, but I'm gonna get to it. And Armani says, I think the playbook changed for many reasons. One might be when you're faced with the possibility of never having children or having children at a late age, some women compromise. And Terry says, there's nothing wrong with anyone praising God, but my problem is when you try to force me to be as you do, as I believe, as if I believe as you do. And that's my problem as well. Marty says, I love the things that you put together to meet you and Donovan together, make a great team, and bring a lot of fun and knowledge for us. Different perspective is wonderful, especially on travel. And thank you. And the Pioneer says, Frank, yes, sir, straight up stereotype. However, I find it suspicious that a woman discovers at 50 that she's a lesbian, and to make it so public, I smell an agenda. I do too, actually. I agree with you. Terry says, I don't go to church, but I'm not a Christian either, nor do I worship Satan. And Mona says, you got some jobs that have a problem if a person wants to have an open dialogue on social media, even though it may have nothing to do with disrespectful comment. Why? I don't understand, because they, want you to adhere to their company policies, even though you ain't on the clock. You also say some people just don't want to pay rent and they want to be cheap here in Michigan. So some would prefer to live in a raggedy neighborhood than to live clean and decent. So they want to live off of a woman. Ew. And she says, the show, cops always had a gay couple knife fight. No. What is that? The show that she was on? I talking about Niecy Nash. And Terry says, that's not true because I did it. I provided for 12 children, 2 adults solo on a nursing income. When men say that to me, I hear cop out. And Marty says, that makes perfect sense depending on your desired quality of life. If you could make it on one income, thank you. Yes, indeed. And Marty says, but when you are aware of a foreigner and they plot and you let them know early on what, let me see. What you're not going to put up with when you get the real side, if they can use you, then it's all chaos. And Shamish says, put me down for that show. Well, inbox me so I'll know, because I ain't gonna remember from these. And Mr. Pirate Brain says, the Gambia is a good place to go. Okay, and the Pioneer says, Congo, Uganda on the equator. Laugh out loud. If people think Houston or New Orleans is too hot for them, they won't last 5 minutes off the plane in Central Africa. Houston is hot as a mug, okay? And Terry says, we can exchange who has the babies or who nurses them. Even if she's better earning the money, what is she supposed to do while having the babies? Good question. Mom says, Donovan, is that is it a technotronic fest rather in California? I'm sure there is. I know we had Coachella. And Terry says, which is exactly why if I get with a man, marriage is the end goal. I want to be protected as well. Yes, ma'am. And Mona says, you got many dating counselors that state one should be open to dealing with people outside their race, which is a bunch of nonsense, so that you can date people that after all don't care for blacks. And Frank says, Moni, you spit a 16 right there. That's true. Just like Byron Allen's a billionaire, and when he dies, his white wife will get all of that. Yeah, if that's the way to have it set up. And Mr. Pioneer Brain says the marriage contract needs to change. Rentable Wow, every 5 years. So you mean to change it every 5 years. And Frank says pioneer an agenda for show. And Mr. Research says all these bandwagon people tagging on my live stream suggestions. See how I lead the masses. Yes, you are a leader. Salute. And Amani says, agreed. No more comments. Thank you so much for your content. And Leather Luxury Car says, got my Prodent. I love it. Yay. Got you some toothpaste. I love it too. And it lasts a very long time. Amani says, the more that we become awake in America, the more people are becoming very intimidated of us. Don't want you to praise God. They got a problem if someone is supposed to be intimidated. Well, you praise God on your own accord, right? And the pioneer says, Donovan, stop smooching on your cats during the live, brother. That's worse than strong women picking you up and tossing you into the bed.
Well, I'm sending a signal that I really love kissing. No, never mind.
Marcus, he says, Donovan, at 45 to 50, how young do you date? Because myself, I find 35 to 35 more my speed and without so much anger in them. Don't do me wrong rules. Ooh, okay. I'm at the end of the comments so quickly, Donovan. How young do you date?
8 to 80, dumb, cripple, and crazy. No, I'm just, that was a Big Daddy Kane.
All right, Big Daddy Kane.
Yeah, Big Daddy Kane verse.
Me too might be listening.
Yeah. But no, that's a good range that I look at too, between 30 and 30 and up, basically, because by the end they're not teenagers and they've got enough as an adult to make decent decisions.
And thank you, the pioneer. And you guys, we have a Cash App and many other forms of receiving, a donation for helping to support new Black media. If that's something you want to do, we greatly appreciate it, and we appreciate the ones that have done it so far. And Marty says, but I'm keeping my options open. And Demetri, I'm having a lot of fun because knowledge is power. And I know that I'm not going to put up with and even with it ever again with no bitterness. I choose God above all every day. You making that clear, sister. And she says, if you're looking for the devil, you'll find him in the pulpit preaching Christianity, contradiction in the Bible. And if you look in the mirror, you might find him there too sometimes. And Terry says, Mr. Prior Brain, she's looking like, okay. And you also say, Mr. Prior Brain, the Congo just had a huge volcano eruption. I wouldn't move there. Well, good to know. And Mr. Research says that cat is clearly rich and spoiled. Donovan, no reaction, full belly behavior like he had the itis after eating the 12th time a day. Bet he watches mice walk by and doesn't even attempt. His cats are on credit cards. They got their own credit cards. Anything them doggone animals need. I told Donovan, if there is such thing as reincarnation, you know what I want to come back as is one of your pets.
Yeah, the funny thing is the last one that you guys just saw, that's T'Challa. That's the feral cat that ended up staying around. The last 3 days, he's brought me 3 birds, and he's crunched them all. That's just his nature, so I let him go. But the other 2, you're right, they won't do anything. They'll see a mouse pass by and just, oh well.
And honey, where have you been? Is this the same honey? I haven't seen him on Facebook in a while.
Yeah, it's the same one. Mm-hmm.
Where you been? And he says women only want marriage for the wedding and divorce. Yeah, those are the comments I miss. That's the honey I know. Glad to see you back. And Terry says, Hardy sounds silly. Hardy is about that life. Okay, he ain't gonna give a woman no passes. Yes, Donovan is crazy, magically beat. And Shamir says, great show. No, thank you. And the last comment, Moni says, Demetri, if you get married again, what type of diamond ring would you pick? What size and what cut?
Go ahead and show it.
Personally, I like yellow canary, 7 above carat. I like pear-shaped noble. I'm a simple person. I'm not a real flashy person. When and if I ever get married again, whatever ring I get, I shouldn't say whatever, like I should have a choice, right? But I don't need to have the Hope diamond or have a security guard walking behind me. I'm a simple person. I really am, right? Like I just am. So, and Magically Me says the cats, those cats are the coldest spiritual realm, or the closest to spiritual realm.
Yeah. Remember, they were worshipped in Egypt. So,
Yes, indeed. And Marcus says, Al Green simply beautifully describes what I need to bring out a ring given on my end twice that back. Please, everyone, go get what you want and deserve. You ain't lying, brother. And Samuel says to take a full circle back to the original topic. Here is the population control agenda like there has been these scientists of evil have just advanced their techniques and pushed their homosexual agenda with all the hormones pulled into the people they are manipulating gender roles. Do you know blue is a feminine color while pink is a masculine color? So they are symbolically trying to feminize the boys and make the women masculine. Good point. And Frank says, I think some want to be married but don't want to be wise. And Magic Lemon says cats usually reincarnate as humans. Okay, well, maybe I'm gonna take that back. So anyway, that is it. We've gotten to the last comments, and guess what? We did it before 2 hours. I want to thank y'all so much for being here. Thank you, Donovan, for sitting here co-host. Thank you, Marcus, for everything you do behind the scenes. Thank you, YouTube and Facebook, the other side of the conversation. We are going to be getting that panel together, and you guys can discuss. I'll moderate. How about that? I'll moderate instead of talking so much and let you guys talk. So send me in my inbox or message somehow that you want to partake in this, and then Donovan and I will put it together. Let's aim for the next week or so, a day during the week or something. And yeah, we'll work it out. So you guys, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We love you. And we'll see you tomorrow on the War Zone. Don't miss it, because we are supposed to be having, I'm going to get this wrong, Charles Brown Booker. He's a basketball player. We had him on once before. He's a basketball. He's an ex-NBA player. He's actually going to come on to talk about the Kwame Brown situation. So on the War Zone tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Time. Do not miss it, because it is going to be very interesting, you guys. So we'll see y'all tomorrow. You guys have a great rest of your Sunday and be safe out there.
Yes.
Peace.
Thank you, guys. Peace.